Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Happy Thursday. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And how you doing? You know what Thursday means. We had jobless claims out today. We'll get to that. Let's just say the big spike we are waiting for appears to have arrived. We had a market this morning. Listen, gold wanted to go down this morning. But nope, it's gone the other way, as apparently this number has caught people off guard. Maybe they should just listen to us. We'll tell them what's really happening out there in the world today. But before we get there, we got to talk about it. You know, this has been a year, 2020. Besides COVID, besides the first time in the history we have locked down America, and you know the land of the free, the home of the brave, we're all tucking tail and running. We've created the biggest quarterly GDP drop in the history. Now, we're going to have the biggest quarterly GDP rise in the history as well. We've shattered every record known to mankind when it comes to deficits. And we celebrated murderers, rapists, armed robbers, drug dealers. Right? We've celebrated them. And I was so happy to see Ice Cube, the rapper, a big movie star, producer. He writes a lot of great movies as well. He was part of a group called NWA. And if you don't know what that means, look it up. And he wrote the song F the Police. Remember that? That was back in the late 80s, early 90s. And he's out there supporting Donald Trump because he gets it. He's like, wait a minute. Hey, listen, I was young. And I was young when I wrote that. Yeah, we want the police. You know, and it's one of these crazy things. And we're talking about this election. And everywhere you turn, they want you to believe Joe Biden is winning. And Kamala Harris, the biggest, I don't even know what to, liberal's not a strong enough word. Here's what I'm telling you, what worries me. It's not so much Joe Biden. Listen, don't get me wrong. That's bad. But a very limited capacity Joe Biden giving in to the biggest progressives the world has ever seen. And, you know, we're sitting here, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. And everybody's all mad at Ice Cube. But I'm going to tell you right now, and I've said this from the beginning, go to any bad neighborhood in any city, anywhere. Do you want more police or less police? The only ones that are going to say they want less are the bad guys. So shout out to my boy Ice Cube. Today is a good day. But you know, I'll say this, he's one of my favorite guys. You know, back in the day, you know, I was young then. I liked the old rap music back in the day. And I just thought it was worth mentioning. You know, we see all the sports guys with all the crap on the back of their jerseys. I'm glad no one watched the NBA. I'm glad. Good. I didn't watch it either. You know, and it's something where the media has run such. It's almost like how the bankers got in charge. I know, shh, don't say it. Don't say it. Shh. Our founding fathers warned us about letting the bankers be in charge. They did. Now listen, nobody can read the Federalist Papers. Nobody. Well, I think one guy, Mark Call, if you ever heard him on the weekend, I think he's read it all. But outside of him, you can't read. It's unreadable. all in there. They were warning about the money changers, i.e. the bankers, and don't let them be in charge. And you know how they got in charge? They married prominent people, had their buddies, their father-in-laws, their son-in-laws, their brother-in-laws all run for elected office. Very similar to what happened in the media. You know, go back to the 70s and 80s. There was plenty of conservatives in the media. They got rid of them all. We don't like you. Get out. Right now you got Fox, but that's it. I mean, everything else, even Drudge. When did Drudge go liberal? Right? Oh, what? Okay. Oh, well, Donald said mean things about me. Now you're going to just change who you are? And it's scary. And now we have Twitter and Facebook, and they're banning any type of conservatism. Our Facebook page, 1360, at the radio station, 1360 KHNC. I implore every one of you, go like our Facebook page at 1360 KHNC. Facebook won't allow us to run any type of ads or anything out there where we can draw people to our Facebook page. They blocked it because they don't like our message. This is 2020 now. This is when we all need to stand up. We need to rise together. We need to do business with like-minded people. And we need to go out there and vote and get every one of our conservative friends to do it as well. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. 898,000 first-timers filed for unemployment claims. California, a big jump in that. And we're starting to see, remember, we were wondering when that wave was going to start hitting. Here it is, 898,000. I don't know. These economists are only expecting 830. I don't know why. But either way, much higher than expected. The highest number going back to when they changed the way they were doing the counting. 898,000. They're trying to put some spin on, oh, well, continuing claims are falling. What's happening is people are falling off. Because the pandemic now, after 6 months, you don't count anymore. So if you lost your job in March, you had April, May, June, July, August, September. Come October, out the door you go. And so, again, the media is trying to trick you. They're trying to trick you. And saying, oh, well, look, the unemployment rate is 7.9%. No, it's not. I mean, I guess the way you want to count it. Now they count unemployment 6 different ways. Which one do they report? If you were doing something 6 different ways, okay, counting a number 6 different ways, most people would say, okay, well, we probably should take the average or the one in the middle, right? You get the high bid, the low bid. You're getting, I don't know, you're adding an addition onto your house. And you go out there, you get 6 bids. Right? Do you take the lowest one? I know for me, it depends, right? It does depend, but most times you don't. Why? Because the lowest one's ridiculous, right? You're looking at all the bids, and you're like, wait a minute, what is this guy smoking, right? Because right? Hey, he just wants you to hire him, and then halfway through the job, he's going to come back and say, oh, well, I need more money. That's kind of like the unemployment but numbers. They give us the lowest one, which is the most ridiculous one. That's at 7.9%. And again, it'll probably be lower the next time they report at the beginning of next month when they report it again. But we'll have the number of people not in the workforce just screaming out of control. So far, here's what they're saying. This is what I've been worried about. Remember, we were talking about how many people are going to fall out of the middle class. Because it's the only part, when you think about the 1%ers, that number's going up. There's more 1%ers today than there was when the crisis started. The 9%ers, that's stable. I don't want to say there's more and there's not more and there's not less. The poor, That's rising. I'm going to give you the number. It's rising way faster than I had hoped. The only one shrinking is the middle, right, which is where the vast majority of Americans used to live, right? We used to live in the middle. Let me give you some numbers. And these aren't this year's numbers. This is last year. Where was the cutoff? When you think about the American workforce, which used to be 150 million people. Now it's probably 120 million people. Last year, so this is before coronavirus, half of all workers made less than $34,248.45 last year. Now, that's despite we had one of the biggest wage growths the country has seen in a couple of decades last year. Of course, it's the rising of the minimum wage. But could you imagine living on $34,000? And of course, I'm thinking, I remember the first time when I started my management career, I got $28,000, and I was in this program for 3 months, and then after 3 months, I got to $40,000, and I thought I was the richest guy in the world. Today, you wouldn't think that at all. But just to give you a clue, that's about $2,800 a month before taxes. $2,800 a month. Making less than $3,000 a month, you've got plenty of company, because that's exactly where over half the American workforce resides, according to the Social Security Administration. The most alarming thing about the report, the median wage of $34,245, when you divide it $28.54 a month, and when you look at that, this year we see more than 63 million Americans, and of course today, add another million today, filing for first-time jobless claims. 32% of American workers made less than 20 grand. 45% made less than 30 grand. 56% made less than 40 grand. And 2 out of every 3 makes less than 50 grand. Now, the poverty level for a household of 5. And again, someone better go out and check these numbers, right? Now, and I say this because it's important to know how, let's just say, I think the people that put the poverty level in the United States, I think they listen to a little too much Ice Cube and smoke a little too much weed, because they're saying a family of 5, you got to make less than $30,680 to be considered below the poverty level. Now, I have a family of 4. I could not imagine a family of 5 doing that, but that would be you. Somehow you, your wife, and your 3 kids can live on $2,500 a month. I don't think so. But that's the number, right? So understand, when I give you the next number, understand what that really means. So right now, according to that number, almost half of our workforce is at the poverty level. Now, what we're hoping is, hey, mom and dad are both working so they can stay above the poverty line. Remember back in the day, go way back, my childhood. I turned 50 this year. Everybody where I grew up, I'd have to think about it. I'm sure there was, and I don't want to say everybody, I'm sure there was. But most of the parents, mom stayed home. Dad went to work. That's how it was. And now today, that's almost impossible. I don't know that it really is. I know a few. But these people, I know, the guy makes $500,000, $1 million a year. And even then, a lot of times the wife's working. So now we're looking, according to the government now, the number of poor people. Remember what poor is. 30,000, 60,000. That's for a family of 5. I mean, so a family of 4, that number, I would imagine if you have 4 people, that number's got to go up. How about if you only have 3? It's got to go higher again. Has grown by over 8 million since May. According to Columbia University, after falling by 4 million at the beginning of the pandemic, so listen, we got 4 million people out of poverty when we sent everybody all those checks. Columbia now says all 4 of those million, they went back into poverty. We added another 4 million into poverty. And oh, by the way, every month that goes by, the poverty level continues to grow. And according to the University of Chicago, so you have the University of Chicago, Columbia, Notre Dame, they're all doing these studies. Despite what you're hearing about the quote-unquote improving job market, this is my point. It is improving if you want to take the numbers at face value. Because they use the best number. They got a bunch of estimates, and then they took that number that made no sense. It's like I tell you, when you're buying gold from somebody else, go ahead. But know this. If it's too good to be true, right, then it is. And that's exactly what we have with these bankers. They put out numbers that are too good to be true. They're non-believable. Well, I mean, if they were truly right and none of these debts matter, and of course they'll say, well, you know, it's bad times, so we got to do it. Really? Because we never did it before you guys were in charge. We had bad times. Country had bad times. We didn't go trillions of dollars into debt. And guess what? Somehow we got through it just fine. This notion, you know, it's really back to this. Everybody gets a stinking trophy. It's the same thing. Oh, we got to rescue everybody. No, you don't. You know, and I always told my kids, and I tell it to them today, you learn just as much, if not more, from failure as you do success. And you have to fail. I don't know anybody who's been successful without failure. It's part of life. You got to learn how to deal with it. And, of course, yesterday I told you what the central bank really does. And they finally, you know, they're just admitting it now. Because, you know, at this point, I guess you can't cover it up. Right? I mean, at this point, right, and you've told so many lies, right? No one believes you anymore anyway, so you might as well just spit out the truth, because when you do, people won't even know that you're telling the truth anymore. Yeah, we know. But if we don't save Wall Street, millions and millions of people will lose their jobs. 64 million people have filed for unemployment claims since March. I think the cat's out of the bag. And again, I already know what's going to happen. We're going to get out of this. Here's a shocker, newsflash. We will get out of this. Sure will. Just like we've gotten out of everything else. But there's been a dramatic change in how America gets out of its problems, going all the way back to the 70s, right? Because that's officially, right, when we told foreign governments, okay, no more when you buy treasuries, when you buy U.S. debt, when it matures, you cannot demand gold. You only get stuck with our paper piece of crap, right? You know, really, what is money? You know, the money in your wallet is just a piece of paper with ink on it. Really, I mean, that's all it is. right? The perceived value, the full faith and credit of the United States government. How much faith and credit do you think we have? Do we have 30 trillion? Do we have 40 trillion, 50 trillion? What's the number? Right, and now they talk about we need even more inflation, right? Which is really what? Devaluation, less faith and credit. Right? Goldman Sachs, earlier this week, hey, the least likely scenario we see is a rising dollar. Right? We looked everywhere. I mean, we looked under the bed, we looked up, we looked down, right? We looked in the couch cushions. Can't see that. I know, right? What are we going to end up with? How many less people in the middle class are we going to end up with when this whole thing is over? Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. You know what? Something else that's left the vocabulary? I don't hear anyone talking about living better than their parents anymore. Right? We discovered back in the early 2000s that was probably not going to happen. Right? And now no one wants, we pretend like it hasn't happened. So think about this. Go back to the 1970s. When I was born in 1970, we told foreign governments no more taking maturing U.S. debt and getting gold. You have to take dollars. And that's where the whole thing has started. Matter of fact, if you go to the day they allowed gold to trade freely, and you track the value of gold and the value of Wall Street, gold wins. Right now. Dow's right near all-time highs. Doesn't matter. Gold still wins. Now, you won't hear your financial planner tell you that. And they always love to, well, let's go back 200 years. Well, the money was gold then. I mean, you can't compare something that wasn't allowed to trade freely with something that was. Right? And plus, anything you made, you could argue that, hey, you made that in gold. But in the last 50 years, gold wins. Period. It's really not even that close. That's the surprising part. But you know what's happened? Every time we've hit trouble, and you're going to have trouble. We know this. It's called life. Right? Sometimes life sucks. Right? Right? We know. Ever since then, there is one dominating factor. More people ended up in poverty and stayed there. See, now that's the key part, and stayed there. When you think about food stamps didn't come along till like 1968. It's kind of amazing, right, when you think about it. Wait a minute, we went almost 190, we went 190 some years without food stamps in this country? Yep, sure did. There's only a couple million people on it. Right? Now, my guess is we're going to have somewhere, we don't know the exact number yet, 50, 60 million today. Fast forward to today. And you see what I'm talking about. Every crisis, we have larger numbers of people going into poverty. And then when the recovery comes, less of them are able to get out. Right? Think about the crash, the financial crisis, as they like to call it. Right? We saw the food stamps go from just under 20 million to 45 million. Then you look at the longest recovery in U.S. history. That's what they call it. Right? I mean, hey, listen, it is what it is. You know, again, by the numbers they want to use. We barely got below 40 million. But we started with less than 20. And now I'm telling you, here's the next cry. Oh, where are we going to be? I know this. It's going to be more than 45. I think it's going to be more than 50. I really do. I think we're going to be about 60 million. Now, the government can send out checks. Let's give Dad $1,200. Let's give Mom $1,200. Extra $500 for the kiddos. Right, to try to pretend that people aren't in poverty. Right, we can pretend. But if you don't give them more checks, guess what? They stay there. And this is exactly, and it's so funny. It's exactly what our founding fathers told us was going to happen. Exactly. If you let these people be in charge, they will run the country into the ground. Big business gets all the handouts, gets all the welfare, and small business left to fail. Right? It's too complicated. It's too hard. We can't save the little guys because tens of millions of people will lose their job. And that's exactly when you don't help the little guys, tens of millions of people lose their jobs. Sooner or later, the little guy stops trying. Right? I mean, that's what happens. You know, and I look at, let's use the racing. Let's look at, food stamps and all of these things and the way it was set up, punishing you if you had a male in the house that wasn't your husband, right? And all of those things and breaking up the families. And all it does is lead to more poverty. And here we sit today in the same situation, and it's a pattern. We've got 50 years of data to back me up. Nobody thinks we should change? Wait a minute. Let's just keep doing what we're doing? Does that make any sense? Of course it doesn't. But you're like, well, what can I do? Right? What can I do, Double? I'm just one guy. I'm only one person. I can't change it. The bank's too powerful. And guess what? You're right. All this we can do is prepare. You know what's coming. I know what's coming. The question is, can you stay out of poverty long enough? Can you stay out of it long enough? And here's the thing. I've been talking about what's coming next. You know what's coming. Right? The Federal Reserve note is coming to an end. The euro's coming to an end. The yen's coming to an end. The renminbi's coming to an end. The pound is coming to an end. And we're going to have a digital currency because they're going to tell you this is how we're going to save everybody. And there's going to be a devaluation like the world has never seen. We used to talk, Eric and I, about like the Amero. Remember the Amero? No one talks about the Amero anymore because it's not big enough. We were thinking 10,000 old notes would be 1,000 new ones. I don't think that's going to be enough this time around. But that's why you have the gold. Does happen, guess what? You kept yourself whole. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. We had Silver Eagles. I guess the key word in that sentence was had. They are out again. I don't know if we'll get more between now and the end of the year. My fingers are crossed, but as you know, The mint is getting ready to shut down. We have one more shot Monday morning. We're going to be dialing for silver, and the bullion bank will let me know. And my guess is if it doesn't happen on Monday, that could be it for the year. Not that we've had it very many times, but we'll have to wait and see. So I've taken those off the website. I apologize for that. We got junk silver. If you want really nice Morgan or Peace dollars, call us. We can help you. Today I got a really nice special today on U.S. $5 Liberties. Gold has turned around since we went on this morning. Gold was down 10, 12 bucks earlier in the day, has now come back, reverse course. It is now up for the day, but I'm actually going to pretend I didn't see it. U.S. $5 Liberties. So these are the fractionals. And again, we've really had good luck getting $5 Liberties. We've pretty much for the last 3 or 4 months and getting supply. But here's the problem. The 20s, right? Yeah, they come and they go. Right now, they just disappeared. All of a sudden, boom, gone. I don't know where they went. I don't know who bought them all, but it just is what it is. I just received another price sheet while we were talking here. Another price increase. Someone's going big into gold right now, but U.S. $5 Liberties, they're all the way down to 560. 560. I mean, if I'm going to say, hey, is this a lead pipe stone cold lock of the week? Yeah. Because you're normally four $5 Liberties would be $2,300. For them all the way down to $2,240, which puts that, to get fractional, if you will, less than $25 to the ounce to get fractional. So that's relatively inexpensive. Having some quarter ounce gold in your portfolio is incredibly valuable, especially if it all breaks down. I mean, could you imagine? Here we go digital, and the power goes out, right? And then you're stuck, right? You can't do anything. By the way, speaking of digital, the Bank of Canada this morning. Now, Canada's not a big bank, right? But it's follow the leader, right? This is what is going to happen. Talking about the need for a digital currency because of COVID. So it doesn't matter that, right? I saw, COVID could last on cash for 5 years. Some ridiculous number. Listen, it's going away. You know it. I know it. Right? They've got all these ridiculous rules about how much cash you can have and how much cash you can't have, and heaven forbid you get pulled over with a lot of cash, right? And everybody must be a drug dealer or a terrorist or any, right now, listen, I don't know any drug dealers or any terrorists. I don't. And I think the vast majority of people out there don't either. Are drug dealers a thing of the past? I mean, they're legalizing everything. I guess that's my point. U.S. $5 Liberty gold pieces today, 560, which I'll tell you right now, unless there's no stimulus. So here's the only way by the end of the year this isn't a great buy. There's no stimulus at all. I think Trump has to win. No stimulus, no vaccine. So that has to be the triumvirate for this to somehow be a bad buy. Any other scenario, Trump can win. We get a vaccine. We get stimulus, right? Gold's going way higher. Biden wins. Gold's going way higher. The only way I can see it not is we get no stimulus at all. before or after the election, and we don't get a vaccine. Because somehow they think the dollar rallies with it. I don't know how. Really, when you think about it, could it be any worse? Right? Wouldn't that be the worst thing? I don't know. But either way, 800-951-0592. I have not seen this kind of activity in the gold market, in the silver market, since about May. Because that was kind of the height of all the shutdowns, and everybody was going into it. There's another big move now into gold all of a sudden. Even yesterday, yesterday we had gold down. Well, I guess 2 days ago. Gold was down 2 days ago. Came back a little bit yesterday, but I was looking at the prices. I'm like, wait a minute. Gold was down $34 the day before. It only came back 10. How are the prices this high? And again, like I said, just 5 minutes ago, I had another price increase. We were ordering 20s yesterday. 2 days ago. We were ordering 22 days ago, and they're like, we go to the largest wholesaler in the world. You know what they told us? We don't have any. Something's up. Something's up. I don't know what it is. Here, I guess my thought process is we're going to get a big stimulus, right? Everyone's going to get a check again, somewhere around $2 trillion, and that vaccine has happened. That's my guess. And again, it doesn't matter. Trump or Biden doesn't really matter nearly as much as the other two. I think that's going to signal we're going to see the next leg down in the dollar on those two events. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment on a Thursday. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. U.S. $5 libs at $560. The lead pipe lock of the week. Also available online. Silver Eagles. I'm out. Monday, I'll let you know. And even Monday, but I'm not. Put it this way: I'm not very hopeful based on what the Bullion Bank told me. But we'll take a shot. We'll see what happens there, and again, I don't know how this all shakes out, but something is amiss. We've had major move in the physical gold markets. We saw this the last time we saw it again was the beginning of this crisis, right? And we saw gold shoot up to new all-time highs. We're now seeing it again all of a sudden. And really, we're thinking, gold's off the bottom. It's off the bottom. But I wouldn't say gold's flying. We're at a little over $1,900. But it is very, very interesting when we see these moves inside of the market, because it usually indicates, not always, but usually it indicates a big move's coming. And the big money goes first. Because they already know, right? The rest of us, we're trying to figure it out. Why would they be out of 20s? It makes no sense to me. But yet here we are. Right? Same thing, like silver. I can guarantee you on the silver side. The second they're not available anymore, right, they're going to go through the roof and nobody's going to be able to get any. Think about it. Right? Silver was, I don't even know what silver was to start the year. $14, $15, maybe $16. Silver was $12 and change a year ago. It's now, 24 and change. And for the most of that time period, you really haven't been able to get any. And I just think about E.B. Tucker. I hope he's wrong, but he thinks silver's going to hit $40 before the end of the year. And I guess the fact that it's all disappeared again makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. 800-951-0592. Here's the good news. Tomorrow it's Friday again. So we'll have the last show of the week. The metals plans, we are 100% done. It's somewhere if you haven't already gotten it yet, it's in the mail. We are done with those. If you want to sign up for the metals plan, Go out to allamericangold.com. You click on the metals plan icon. You can read about it there. You can give us a call here at the office. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. I don't know. We're less than 3 weeks now from the election. Record number, 15 million people have already voted early. And I'll say this, my wife and I, we're voting early. We just to make sure. My wife's in charge, though. Have you seen all the judges on the ballot? My wife's got to research every one of them so we can figure out which judges we like and which ones we don't. It's a pain in the, they got to have, what I'd love to see is, at least on the judges, when it comes to important cases, 2 or 3 important cases, how they decided. Wouldn't that be nice? They don't want us to know what type of judges there are. That's another story for another day. Patriot Radio News Hour. The move out of the middle class in the wrong direction is going to continue until somebody gets rid of the central bank. Take care. God bless everybody. We'll be back tomorrow.